This is an informational text written back in August of 2006 by the Daily News by a daily reporter named Alice Young called Recovering from Katrina. Life has changed along the Gulf Coast in the past year. 1 year ago, Hurricane Katrina was churning in the warm, moist air of the Gulf of Mexico as a Category 5 storm. This is the strongest and most destructive rating for a hurricane. All along the Gulf Coast, residents were bracing for the impact of this mighty storm. She was now a Category 3 hurricane with winds near 125 miles per hour. On the morning of August 29, Hurricane Katrina made landfall in southern Louisiana. She was now a Category 3 hurricane with winds near 125 miles per hour. She left behind a path of destruction in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Damages in New Orleans and along the Gulf Coast totaled $108 billion. This made Katrina the costliest and most destructive natural disaster in U.S. history. Most Atlantic hurricanes move north as they approach the Atlantic coast of the United States and do not land. Some storms hit Florida and a few move into the Gulf of Mexico, as Katrina did. Before Katrina, Hurricane Andrew had been the costliest storm in U.S. history. Hurricane Andrew hit southern Florida on August 24, 1992, as a Category 5 storm. Violent winds and storm surges destroyed many homes and businesses. Nearly 250,000 people were left homeless. Hurricane Andrew moved across Florida, then it moved into the Gulf of Mexico. It struck south central Louisiana as a Category 3 storm on August 26, 1992. As you can see, here are some nonfiction text features. We have a photograph with a map with a caption stating, "Even with warning, Hurricane Katrina still caused massive damage." And then we have another photograph down here with the caption stating, "This infrared photo shows Hurricane Andrew hitting southern Florida in 1992. A hurricane pulls up a dome of seawater that travels with the hurricane. The high water dome creates the storm surge. Strong winds create giant waves. The storm surge often causes the greatest damage in a hurricane. Flooding caused much of the damage from Hurricane Katrina. Levees that separate New Orleans from surrounding lakes broke. These breaks caused most of New Orleans to lie under floodwater. Some parts of the city were covered by 20 feet of water. Huge 20 to 30-foot storm surges from Katrina also caused massive flooding in coastal cities of Mississippi and Alabama. After Hurricane Katrina, hundreds of thousands of people were left homeless. They had to find temporary housing in hotels, homes of friends or family, or in shelters. Thousands of shelters were set up in schools, community centers, and various other buildings. The Red Cross, government agencies, and other relief groups set up the shelters. One large shelter was set up at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. In early September 2005, it housed more than 11,000 hurricane victims. Here is a picture of the before. So they're asking you to compare this photograph of New Orleans before Hurricane Katrina with the photograph on the next page. Look at the large brown building in the center of each photo. So I'm going to change the view. Here is the before. Here is the after. And as you can see, there was quite a bit of flooding and buildings being destroyed. A year after Hurricane Katrina, many homes and other buildings still need repair. About 1/3 of New Orleans schools, hospitals, and libraries are still closed. Thousands of people whose homes were destroyed continued to live in trailers provided by FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Relief agencies such as FEMA and the Red Cross continue to help rebuild damaged homes. They continue to relocate those people whose homes were destroyed. Recovering from such widespread destruction has been a huge task. Some people have been able to repair or rebuild their homes and businesses during the past year. Many residents have chosen to remain in the region where they grew up. They are determined to rebuild their homes, their communities, and their lives. Recovering from widespread destruction has been a huge task. The volunteer response to Hurricane Katrina has been the largest in U.S. history. Hundreds of thousands of people across the country have stepped in to help in any way they can. Some come to the Gulf Coast region and volunteer for a weekend. Others stay for months at a time to help in the rebuilding effort. Much has been accomplished in the past year to rebuild the Gulf Coast, yet much remains to be done. As you can see in these photos right here, the caption says, "People from all over the United States came together to help rebuild New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina." Much has been accomplished in the past year to rebuild the Gulf Coast.